Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm turning my knights into zebras to try and defeat Stockfish. The zebra moves like a knight and a camel in L shapes of length 2 and 3. Let's get started with game number 1. Alright, game number 1, as you can see, I do have zebras instead of knights, and they do have that L-shape pattern of movement of length 2 and of length 3, so I can actually develop to F4 on the very first move. This also means that were I to somehow land a zebra on F5 or D5, that would immediately be checkmate. And even though I can't do that in one move, I could hypothetically move my zebra to H4 and threaten checkmate in one move. I probably won't do this though, for the same reason that I wouldn't try and just, for example, go for a 4-move checkmate against Stockfish, because against perfect play, it probably just won't be effective. I'd imagine if I moved my zebra to H4, there's just like D5, covers D5 with the queen defending the pawn, and covers F5 with the bishop. And at that point, I've just developed a zebra to the side of the board for absolutely no reason. So instead, I'm going to play a more normal game of chess and just hope that these zebras have a time to shine later in the game, like a very strong piece like a queen, for example, might be able to do. Alright, we do get pawn to c6. It does immediately start to fight for those center spaces. I'm going to do the same, take up center space. And we are met with pawn to d6. Stockfish does have the habit of playing a little bit more passively, I feel like is the right word for it, when I do have these stronger variant pieces, probably because it has a greater understanding of exactly how I could put them to use to be a threat. But even if I don't see exactly how to use these pieces, it's still advantageous for me that Stockfish does, and will play a little bit more reservedly as a result. We do get pawn to e5. It is going to fight for center space. I'm going to go ahead and just reinforce my center. And we're met with a rather wacky pawn to h5. I have a theory. I do know from past experience playing with these variant pieces that Stockfish will try and trade these off as fast as possible, so I'm going to make the bet that h5 is setting up bishop to g4 so that I play knight to f3, or rather zebra to f3, and I'd be willing to bet that Stockfish is just going to try and trade off the bishop for the zebra. Which, if knights and bishops are worth about the same, I have to imagine that my zebra is worth something more than a bishop is. I'm going to guess like maybe 4 points, maybe 4.5. You guys can let me know down below how much you think a zebra is worth. I'm probably just going to play this game as if they were worth 4 points. I don't think they're worth as much as a rook. But okay, if Stockfish is going to try and trade off a bishop for my zebra, I should not allow that. So I'm going to play pawn to h3 to cover g4. We do get knight to e7, and my question is, where exactly am I supposed to place my pieces? I kind of want to put my bishops out in front so my zebras can sit behind, because I want to guard them almost like I would guard a rook, right? They're more valuable than the minor pieces that Stockfish is playing with, so it's almost like loot that I want to hide behind other pieces. Alright, we're met with knight to g6, possibly looking to reposition the knight on f4. Now I will develop one of my camels. It still covers f4 like a knight, but it also has the possibility to move into f5 now. Back here it was also defending f4, but it couldn't reach as far as f5. We do get bishop to e7. I'll just keep developing. Obviously, I'm not going to place it there right now because it'll just get traded off, but I do think having that possibility is helpful. We're met with king to f8 because castling is disabled. I need to figure out once and for all exactly how to enable castling. Truthfully, like I've said before, it just genuinely does not change the game all that much. Castling was only invented to make these two movements and this final movement faster, but at the end of the day, it's still beneficial for both sides to generally move their kings over to a safer flank of the board. Okay, we're met with knight to d7, and I think I'm just going to walk my king over. If Stockfish is going to move to the king side, I think me as the player with the advantage, I'm going to consider this a material advantage, should be looking for an attack. So I'd like to be on opposite sides of the board, so my king is safe while I launch my attack on the other side. Alright, we get pawn to c5. Stockfish has no interest in me keeping my king nice and safe, but I'm going to close the center. I'll just move right past and create this sort of gridlock in the middle of the board so my king doesn't become exposed. Alright, knight to f4. How is that not just a free pawn? Oh, interesting. Should I take the pawn takes back? Zebra takes, bishop g5 skewers the two zebras. But to be fair, it does give me not only a free pawn, but a central pawn. So I think I'm going to accept that anyways. Of course, Stockfish takes back, and I do think I'm incentivized to take this free pawn. Alright, we do in fact get bishop g5. Are there any sneaky ideas I can play for, like some crazy sacrifice? I'd imagine if there were, Stockfish would have already seen it and not played into this if that line did exist. So I'm probably just going to retreat my zebra back to e2. Of course, Stockfish takes. I'll go ahead and... oh, maybe I should take back with the king so I can slide the rook over. Okay, I think I'm going to do that. I'll take with my king, connecting my rooks, and I can get this queen side rook over to the king side. Alright, rook to b8. I think it's doing the exact same thing that I'm going to be trying and doing, and that's just going to be pushing towards the enemy king. This looks like it's very much telegraphing b5, b4. Right, we get exactly b5. Now the immediate threat is c4 trapping my bishop, which I simply cannot allow. So either c4 stopping c4 from my opponent, or I move the queen out of the way so I can drop the bishop back. I feel like c4 is a little more confrontational, and again, I should be the aggressor, I'd imagine, since I'm still, in my head at least, up material. All right, we do in fact get that capture. I think I can just take back with my bishop. Queen comes out to play. I'm getting a little bit nervous here because its king is looking a lot safer than my own. And now there's this coordination on b2 where should the rook take, it would pin my queen to my king and ultimately lose me my queen as well. So I should block that. I kind of don't want to use my zebra for the sole purpose of blocking a threat, but I don't know that I have much of a choice. Oh, and should I play this? There's like queen to d4, queen d3, rook takes b2 anyways by removing the guard. Whoa, that's uncomfortable. Okay, wait, no. I'm going to move the king back to cover c2 with 2 pieces. Usually the king isn't a defensive piece, but it's going to have to carry its weight in this game. Okay, we do get knight to e5, again reinvigorating the threat on b2 because should the knight capture, I take back. There's just queen takes b2 and all heck breaks loose. So I do have to move this bishop back, I'd imagine. Oh, if I move back c4, I can't take because the knight takes again anyways, and queen b2 is suddenly on the board again. But what other options do I have? If I move the bishop back, then it simply takes, and that's also on the board once more. b3 takes, queen takes. Queen comes in by herself, but that I feel is less of a threat. Comes up, takes, queen c2. Is it less of a threat? There's no way this is just losing, right? Okay, if b3, knight takes, pawn takes, queen comes down with check, king d2, rook b2 simply loses the queen. Wow, this might actually already be losing. That's actually insane. Because the thing is, this bishop doesn't have that many squares to move to. Those two are simply unsafe. d3 just allows knight takes. So bishop b3 is like the only option that actually keeps me in the game, unless I want to push the pawn and allow the queen into the back rank. All right, it's going to be bishop b3. We do in fact get c4, and I don't really feel like just losing my bishop. I mean, I could go bishop a4. Oh, it's so sketchy. The knight comes down with check, hits the king, hits b2. At that point, I have 2 defenders. There are 3 attackers. So I guess I am just going to take. Okay, of course the knight takes back. I can't just lose a piece, so I do have to take. And hopefully I survive this oncoming slaughterhouse of pieces. All right, of course, queen takes. I have 1 legal move, so I will slide over. And I'm hoping that if I get checked, I can sort of just play defense with the queen. Okay, bishop d7 is somehow way worse because rook c8 is now on the board, and if it ever comes down to c1, I'm quite scared. Now here, the zebra is actually carrying a lot of weight because it does cover a whole bunch of really important squares. Actually, I just realized queen b1 wasn't even possible because the zebra just covers that. So, oh, bishop d7 isn't looking for rook to c8, rook c1, because that's also covered. I think it might just be looking for bishop a4, even though that's free. Or maybe it's looking for rook c8 and then bishop a4. I'm not really certain. If I play knight b3 now, bishop a4 isn't possible because I do have that squared covered, but it does allow queen takes a2. A lot of really scary ideas here. It does have a light squared bishop though, so maybe I can put all my pawns on light squares and run my king onto dark squares instead, and then maybe I'll be safe. So I'll play f3 and just create this escape route. Oh, bishop to b5. How did I miss that idea? Oh, it's so hard to think of the zebra as not just a knight. Okay, so it's clearly just looking for this trade. So if I play queen c2, oh, it's not even a trade. I just lose the zebra. Wow, that's a really good find. I just had so much tunnel vision on how to defend the king that I was calculating how it was trying to checkmate me. So of course I created the escape square, but it wasn't trying to checkmate me. It just wanted to get rid of the zebra, which makes a lot of sense in hindsight. Okay, so what do I have to do here? Like offer a trade like on c1? No, but then that's just immediately checkmate, right? Because there's this double attack on that zebra. So the queen has to move out of the way to safety such that it still defends the zebra, and queen c2 is just the only way to do that. All right, the bishop does in fact take with check. If I take back, I just lose the queen, and there's no shot in heck I'm defeating Stockfish. Down a queen. To be fair, there's no shot in heck I'm defeating it down a piece either, but I will do my best to hold my own here. Wow, intermediate capture, just to really solidify the fact that I have no shot here. I'll take the queen. Rook, of course, takes back. I'm hitting 2 different pieces, but it does have a way to defend both. Wow, I thought it was going to play rook to b1. It just does not care. It takes on g2, hits the rook. Should I take? It will, of course, take back, and I won't bore you with this very simple simplification for Stockfish. That's actually the most disrespectful checkmate I've seen in my life. Okay, so I started pushing this pawn to see if I could stalemate myself somehow. Obviously, Stockfish isn't going to accidentally stalemate me, but at least to draw out the game a little bit. And it actually just promoted into a bishop to deliver checkmate. Possibly the most disgusting checkmate I've seen in my life. But with that, we do lose to Stockfish with 2 zebras. If you guys did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Let me know down below how much you think a zebra is worth. After I've done all of these variant pieces, I did the goblins in the last episode. I'm doing zebras now. I'll move on to bishop bishops, rooks, queens, etc. I'm probably going to do an episode where I combine all of these pieces and create my own sort of chess setup, which I'm pretty hype about. But anyways, again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.